she tell you about what she discovered while making the movie?
Well, thank you. Thank you for the invitation. This is the third time I see this movie, and it's the third time I cry. So it's not easy. It's dramatic, actually, what we live. While we were sitting there, I decided to text Petra instead of speaking myself. And she wrote something quite nice to all of us. And I'm going to read it, it's very short. Dear people of Geneva, I wanted to thank you deeply for coming to see our movie. If you're Brazilian, I imagine that you, like me, are suffering from the direction our country has taken. If you're not Brazilian, you might be worried for our own country. This movie was made with the desire to understand this trauma I and so many I know went through in seeing things we thought were guaranteed collapsing before our eyes. And the first step of healing a trauma is to tell. Telling to make sure we didn't go crazy. That we actually went through what we went through. That 30 million people left poverty, that we had a democracy that worked amidst trial and errors. Because what guarantees that a democracy works is a level of mutual respect where one party recognizes the victory of the other, that our political opponents are not treated as criminals, but as legitimate opponents. That eroded in Brazil, and with it, people's belief in democracy eroded too. We must now work to rescue this democracy, and it depends on each of us. We need to fight for everyone to have the right to a fair trial, including Lula, who is now in more than 550 days in jail. That people stop being killed from helicopters in the favelas, that indigenous reserves be respected, that our forests stop being burned. May the human rights we fought so hard to conquer be preserved. You are here in Geneva, so close to the UN. Please protest. Make the teenagers inspire you to take a day of the week and protest continuously. It is urgent. Thank you. So this is what basically she wrote while we were here. But there's one element to this movie which is absolutely, besides the debate, the political debate that it generated in Brazil was huge. But besides that, she brings people to the epicenter of the earthquake. Her images, what she brings in these 2 hours, are absolutely part of our recent history. And this is, besides the political story of this movie, there's the artistic part of it, which is absolutely incredible. So this is the first sense. Answering to your question, I asked, why did she embark on this trip? And there's a scene that perhaps you will remember. It's by the beach, it's in Rio, and there's a demonstration, and there's a clash between, let's say, the right wing and 2 students that were using red shirts. That is basically in the middle of the movie. That was the first scene she filmed. She was in her apartment, and she saw the demonstration, and as a journalist or a filmmaker, she did what she had to do. She got a camera and went downstairs and went into the crowd. And she tells that when she understood what was happening, she thought that, yes, we have a sick society. And that's the starting point of this entire movie. So it's very interesting that the starting point of this movie is actually in the middle. Obviously, she builds the movie in a very different way after that. So that is the starting point. And just a last thing, which I also found very interesting what she said, was the fact that she wanted to tell the pain we were living. And not the pain of the losers or the winners, the pain of basically seeing democracy being eroded. So this pain was not of the winners or the losers, but was of society as a whole. That was what she said. And finally, that's something that she repeats over and over. If she knew what Bolsonaro's government would have done basically in 6 months, she would not have put out the movie. She would have waited and done something even stronger, according to her. So we can only hope there will be season 2.
Thank you, Jamil. So in fact, this also brings us to